People don't think that their story is enough. They need to do buy one, get one. They need to buy a billboard. They need to do all of these excessive things in order to gain the attention that they deserve. So for me, it was really important that I gave people the tools in order for them to scream your dream. Believe me, it started as a hashtag. I overused it. And people asked me after I was creating this content and interviewing more than 5 to 6 people per day, they said, okay, I love Scream Your Dream, but how do I do it? How do I actually scream? How do I find my voice? How do I elevate my voice? And for me, it's very, very simple. I mentioned before we started recording that my father has a very unique look and perspective on what it is that I do. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. He's a West African chemist, right? So I was originally born in West Africa. I was born in Freetown, Sierra Leone. And my family, their work ethic is beyond. I come from a world of academics. My father has his PhD in chemistry and was a college professor, now retired. My mother was an elementary school principal. My older sister is a consultant in DC. My baby sister has her PhD in engineering. My baby brother graduated from Cornell Law. I talk to myself on Facebook every day. That's what I do, right? So Thanksgiving and the holidays are always quite interesting, and everybody scratches their temple and said, Cheldin, are you okay? Who pays you is usually how the conversation goes. But ultimately, my gift is to be able to elevate the voices of others. And so in an academic space, for all of you that come from that academic space, we tend to speak at the level in which our accreditation gives us. We tend to have conversations that are full of jargon and depth, with the assumption that the average person will understand it, digest it, and be able to repeat it. The scenario that I'm going to share with you is one of simplicity. It's not to take away from your pedigree or your achievements or your degrees, but it is in order for you to be heard and what it is that you are saying to be duplicated and shared. It is one thing for you to know and possess what it is that you have in between your ears, but it's the other thing to share it and then for someone else to share it. That is where the power begins. That is, in essence, a movement. But if no one understands what you are saying, and if you are not saying anything, no one can move at all. So what I want for us to do is to begin to think of how do we begin our story. I call it your unique equation. Your unique equation is made up of who you are, what you want, and why you deserve it. Who you are, what it is that you want, and why. Who you are is such an important part, just like grandma and that secret recipe for those chocolate chip cookies. The fundamental difference between anything is based on who you are, what it is that you want, and why specifically you are the person to deliver it. We forget about the uniqueness. We think it's about the product, silly. You think it's about the service. No. People don't buy products or services. They buy personalities and experiences. And your ability to communicate your personality and experience will be the differentiating factor each and every time. Your unique equation is your power. Understanding who you are, being clear on what it is that you want, and being able to justify why you deserve it. Now, who you are, the most simplest fact. Focus on your life facts, things that make you you, that are undisputable, things that no one can argue with. I just mentioned to you that I was born in Sierra Leone, West Africa. I'm an immigrant. No one can take that away from me. It's an amazing conversation starter and part of the uniqueness of my personal brand. Even though I don't run on purpose anymore, I was a Division I athlete. I played field hockey and ran track for LaSalle University in Philadelphia. That is fact. There's a uniqueness to being a collegiate athlete and performing in a Division I space. There's a conversation that starts with that. It shows dedication and teamwork and leadership. It's part of my life facts. I'm also lucky enough to be a mom. I have a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old. Craziness, potty training, disaster. So that's also a life fact. Again, time management, leadership, all of the things that are required in order to be a mom. Those are 3 things that belong to me. They're not up for discussion. They're not arguments. They're 3 things in which I can use to create a story. There's 3 things in which I know bring about skill sets that I can apply to what it is that I'm doing. I also need you to think about your strengths, things that you are good at. This is the time for you to be able to recognize something that you are good at, right? Something that makes you uniquely you. Again, I'm an extrovert. I can talk to anyone in a produce section. I can create a conversation with everyone at any time. That is a strength of mine. I thought it was just a kind of unique thing, but it is my strength. I realize that other people do not have that, and I'm going to utilize that. So the combination of my life facts and my strengths, whether you are a leader, whether you have the ability to multitask, whether you are organized, all of these things belong to you. Independently, they could be shared with other people. There's other people that were born in Freetown, Sierra Leone. There's other people that were Division I athletes, but the combination is the uniqueness. The combination of that unique equation is what makes you who you are. And lastly, it's recognizing in who you are. You're also your weaknesses. I know that I'm outnumbered by people on this call that are very good at math. My darling, my friends, I am not. You are not going to call me for an Excel sheet. You want me to have nothing to do with your spreadsheet. No. I am not the one. I am not balancing anything. I have 3 siblings that are perfect at doing all of those things, but I can do the toast at mom and dad's birthday. I know what my strengths are, but I also know what my weaknesses are. Weaknesses are to be addressed, not to dwell on them, but to recognize them and to let them go. There used to be a time when I spent 3 days trying to create a complicated P&L, 3 days of my life, because I was convinced that I would get it, that I would understand it, that if I tried hard enough or if I maneuvered things hard enough, I would get it. I surrendered and called my baby sister. And I said, Ada, could you please just make this into a spreadsheet and make this add up to this? Obnoxiously, after 72 hours of my difficulty, 20 minutes later, it arrived. 20 minutes later, this woman cut and pasted and created the most beautiful document. I would never get those 72 hours back. But now I know that I give my weaknesses to others who applaud and celebrate them. She loved it. She wanted to explain every cell. I didn't care. I just needed it to be done, right? But she loved it and thrived in that space. And so who am I to deny her Excel? Never again. I will gladly send her those links and have her thrive in her space, as she no longer and never wants to give the speech or toast at the birthday party, right? So it's about living in your space and in the confidence. She, with confidence, can explain every cell of that document. She can tell me why this summed up to this and walk me through it where I cannot. It is a beautiful thing to recognize your strengths and let go of the things that are not really strong in your space. Let go of those weaknesses. It frees you up. The analogy, and you'll hear a lot of analogies with me, but you only have, if you're lucky, 2 arms, and you can only carry a finite amount of things. And so if you are carrying your weaknesses around, there is no room for additional strengths. And so you must put things down so you can carry what it is that you deserve. So in addition to telling that story about who it is you are, you must address what it is that you want. I think that so often we are not clear on our objectives. We don't know what we want. And oftentimes we're one of 2 things. We either focus on our short term or focus on the long term. I'm a daydreamer. So I have grandiose ideas again of being on spring break for MTV, and I could see it. I could feel the wind and the sand between my toes. I could dream it so vividly. And then, but the problem is that I wasn't planning my short-term goals. What did I have to do today to get there? So it's about addressing both at the same time. It's about looking at what I call your tattoo goals. Your tattoo goal is something that is permanently etched, something that can only be surgically removed, something that you dream up, something that you want so badly, you can see it, you can taste it, you can feel it. The challenge in your tattoo goal is that you must also have sticker goals. Sticker goals are things that just have to adhere for a significant period of time. They can't blow off with the wind, but they are not etched on your tombstone. They are just there so you can gradually put one sticker on top of another until you get to your tattoo. You must identify both. I was easily distracted as a young entrepreneur. I would follow what I call the bouncing ball. Somebody would call me and say, Cheldin, I have an amazing idea. We should do this. And I'd be like, okay. And I'd be like, okay, we have to do this. Okay. And I found myself being distracted because I wasn't following my stickers. I was being diverted from left to right, and I wasn't staying focused. I knew who I was, but I wasn't following my goals as it relates to what it is that I wanted. Your tattoo and your stickers keep you at your destination. Each sticker, look at it this way, your tattoo is the destination on your journey. If you are following GPS, which I barely do, the rest stops along the way are those stickers. It affords you the ability to check in. Am I moving in the right direction? Am I going properly in the right movement of things? Once you get that basis, all of these things will allow for you to begin to tell your story. So you understand who you are, your life facts, your strengths, and you avoid your weaknesses. You identify what you want, your tattoo goal, long term, big goals, and then equally your sticker goals, right? We'll talk about what that looks like in your day to day of things because I want you to leave with an execution plan as to what that really looks like for you. Lastly, I want you to think about why you deserve it or why you're doing this in the first place. Why are you doing this in the first place and why do you deserve it? The majority of us hate to brag. That's what we call it, right? I don't like to brag, but, and then we follow it up with 20 years experience. I don't want to sound conceited, but I've been doing this for 20 years. I have a PhD. I've started 3 businesses. This is my 7th location, but I don't want to brag. But the problem in that whole thing is that those out there less worthy, those out there that have less experience, those out there that have less positive intention have no problems bragging boldly. They have no problems pounding their chest and sharing their mediocrity as you humbly sit without revenue, without clients, not wanting to brag. Screaming your dream isn't about yelling for the sake of yelling. It's about finding your voice with intention. It's about gaining the attention that you need in order to get closer to what it is that you want day by day through your stickers to get to your tattoo.